What is going on, you amazing people? It's your pal, friend, career coach, recruiter, Phil Davis over at fulPHILLment. We are live round two today, 2 in 1 day, right? It's been a while since we've had two episodes of fulPHILLment in 1 day, but I figure, we've got two incredible people to share with you all who will share awesome wisdom, awesome nuggets, awesome advice. And I figure, you know what? It's Thursday. It's after a long Labor Day weekend. Let's just have Thursday be filled, right, with fulPHILLment LinkedIn Lives and all that stuff. So, season two, episode 8, which is hard to believe, and we're bringing our lovely friend Annette Richmond back on stage. So Annette is an amazing, amazing friend. She does a lot of different things with her business, Personal Brand You. She's a personal brand architect, a coach, LinkedIn trainer, content creation strategist. She is a guest speaker. She is a broadcaster herself. I've been on her show before. She does a lot of different things for businesses, for job seekers, and I figure just I wanted to bring another awesome professional back on stage to talk a lot about personal branding along your job search. Because friends, as we know, right, the job search can be really challenging, can be really difficult. And I figure, you know what? I can talk about it a little bit and share some of my expertise out there, but I figure, you know what? Let's bring another awesome friend and an awesome expert who does this all day, every day on a daily basis with her clients and with other friends as well. So, without further ado, I'm going to bring Annette on stage, but folks, also stay tuned to the end because, like we did earlier this morning, we have a raffle, one more raffle off for a free fulPHILLment branded t shirt. So, I've got about 20 people right now who put their names on a raffle wheel, and we're going to pick randomly one winner, a final winner for our fulPHILLment t-shirt. So stay tuned at the end, folks, and we appreciate it. Let us know where you're tuning in from as well. So if you're on the comments and listening live or on the replay, give us a shout out. Let us know what you think about our live today. Let us know where you're tuning in from. We've got David Hanson in the house who's coming here. First comment of the day, Phil Davis, PHR, and everyone from Orange County, California, the original Disneyland. I think good to see you here, my friend. All right, Annette, we're going to bring you on stage, my friend. Good to be here, huh? How you doing?
I'm well. I'm well. Thank you for making me sound so impressive.
I mean, that's what we do. That's what we do, and we've got awesome people like you coming up, and I appreciate you having me on your show a couple of months back, and you know what? We're returning the favor and bringing you on mine. So that's what we do for friendship. So
I know. And the thing is, we were just talking about it before we went live. It's so much fun to do this with friends. I mean, it's great to have, new guests on and you get to meet new people. But when you're just hanging out with friends, it's even more fun. So I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for the invite.
yeah, and I appreciate you and folks in the audience as well, just for your flexibility last week on the technology. It's funny, like so before before the first live with Carrie, I said, you know what? I'm going to change my Wi-Fi settings to just regular connection, not high definition. I'm going to change my camera to show just standard def. And the first couple of minutes, like this morning, I just went back and forth through my LinkedIn and our streaming and said, all right, do we both look good? We're good. We're clear. Everything's great. And so when I sent you that message like 20 minutes ago, say, yeah, everything looks great, I was like, awesome. So thank you for your flexibility. And yeah, let's get going. So,
Okay.
yeah. So, of course, very informal conversation, but I, of course, wanted to bring you on because like we similarly talked on your show about personal branding, kind of on my angle. I wanted to bring you on because I know you're a subject matter expert as it pertains to branding on LinkedIn and through social media, of course, TikTok, which we'll talk about in a little while, because I heard a special story from you earlier about what you've been doing on there. But in your own words, in that, like, I'd love to hear in the audience as well. What is your definition of personal branding? Well, let's just maybe start there, if that's okay.
Well, it was, I think the phrase was coined by, I think it was Jeff Bezos who said it first, that your personal brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. And so, that's what I think about. It's what people say about you when your name comes up. If I'm hiring and somebody says, oh, I have my friend Phil is looking for a job, then, what I know about you will come up. And it's also what people just think about you when they're referring you to somebody else. If they say, I could say, oh, Phil, he's so engaging and vibrant, and I know that you'll have fun working with him because I know that about you. That's kind of part of your brand. So I think of it in terms of like LinkedIn as being multi-dimensional and having that personality shine and not just being that cardboard cutout who blah, 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 who nobody really wants to read about or listen to or anything.
I love it. I love it. And I mean I obviously I start writing notes when when the responses hit because I love like old school writing with notes and paper and pencil and stuff like that. So I love that. Like when folks say who you are when you're not in the room, right? And especially on LinkedIn, like there are times where I'm not here all the time on LinkedIn. I'm offline, you're offline, we're hanging out with family, we're catching up with people. So I love that angle of, branding is important when you are here and you're showing up, but also when you're not here. Like what are people going to your page? Are they seeing what you're putting out there and stuff like that? I love that. I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
it's all those little things. It's the your profile, what you say about yourself, if you use emojis or you don't use emojis, or the type of content you put out. All of that kind of gives somebody a feeling for who you are. I mean, I think.
Yeah, no, for sure. And yeah, and just the one thing that you're so good at, and I love, that I want to kind of dig into. I'm kind of quickly digging into it, but I think it's important. Is when it comes to breaking the words down, like personal branding, right? So it's like you've got personal, which the word personal is like I think of personality and stuff like that, and then brand is kind of like, all right, well, you're getting yourself out there, you're making things happen. So when it comes to like, and you have it on your LinkedIn, your banner, personal branding strategy. So I guess can we kind of start there? Like for those folks maybe in the audience who are thinking about either creating their own personal brand, in general, like as it pertains to maybe their job search or if they're getting a business going or something like that. Like how can they start? Like how do they kind of begin strategizing just their own brand, right? And getting to those thoughts kind of going in their head where it's like, all right, what can I do to begin the process, right?
Well, you certainly can ask people, what comes to mind when they think of you, if you want some ideas. But it all starts with your profile. I mean, you want to have a profile that is you. You want to have a photo that looks like you, not some, photoshopped or decades old photo that, people meet you, they're shocked because it doesn't look like you. You want to have a banner. You talked about my banner, your banner. You want to have something, even if you're working in corporate, you can have a banner that shows a little bit of personality and a little bit about who you are. An about section that gives people some information. If you work in corporate, it's not about your company, it's about you.
Mm,
And share some little bit of insight into who you are. Like, I have dogs. My dogs are kind of part, I think, of my brand. People hear my dogs when I'm on a conversation. They were barking during my live this morning. I have my dogs behind me, and I think that that's part of it. And it says a little bit about, who you are, the fact that we have rescue dogs and we volunteer with rescue. So I think it's that, but it's also, the and I had Sue Griffey was on my show just a few weeks ago,
mhm.
and she was talking about commenting. And you and I obviously tell people they should be commenting. And, she was even more elaborating on sharing your expertise. So if you're posting about personal branding, and I want to comment on it, I might share some of my thoughts on it, why I agree with you, or bring in a different perspective. And that helps me to be present for people in my network and also present for people in your network. And I'll stop there, and so we can continue our conversation.
I love it. Yeah, just writing the notes. I mean, the big takeaway, and David Hanson, our good friend here, he also says here, it's important. It's important to me to be authentic in my posts as a way to meet people on the same wavelength. Not everyone will like me. Yeah, not everyone will like me, but the right ones will. 1,000%, right? Like it's and I think we can agree on this too. Like, LinkedIn, right? There's what, 900 million plus people or users, we'll say 900 million plus user profiles on the account, right? And so like we're not gonna be able to connect with everybody on there, right? So it's like it's really about your niche and your community and those folks that are truly in our corner, like David is, to us. David's fantastic, and his posts are really awesome as well, and stuff like that. So
No, I love what he said because it is so true. I actually have a T-shirt that says "I'm not for everyone," and that is so true. And it helps people, whether it's an employer or it's someone who's looking for a service provider, might be looking at you, Phil, might be looking at me. It
yeah.
helps them self-select out if we're not for them.
Absolutely. And if we're not, right, then we know people who may be, right? So then you get
Hmm.
that connection of, well, all right, I know maybe my list of services aren't for you. However, I've got people who may be able to help you further, right? Or more give you more of the value or the inquiry that you're looking for, right? Exactly. I like
Hmm.
that. The other thing too that I really want to kind of dig deeper on is you mentioned about like within the comments and stuff, like sharing your expertise. So is there maybe an example that you can give the audience here where there may be a post out there that you're like, all right, let's share that expertise? Like how, I guess maybe give us like a breakdown if you could about like what would be a good kind of effective comment where like somebody is actually truly sharing their expertise versus a comment that may not be, right?
Okay, so let's say that a colleague of mine is sharing a post on updating your LinkedIn profile. And so they may talk about, the headline, and they may talk about the about section, and et cetera, et cetera. So if I am commenting on them, I of course want to, congratulate them and support what they say. I might pull out something like, I appreciate the way you said that the headline should really sell you to potential employers or potential clients, because our headline is called a headline for a reason. It's an opportunity to sell yourself to people who visit your profile. So I might, just add on kind of my own thoughts supporting what they said, but maybe a little bit more of my take, or talking about their if they talked about the banner, I might say, I agree with that. I think of your banner as being your billboard on LinkedIn that you can use for free, and just sharing comments like that. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, no, totally. I like the breakdown because, sometimes there are posts out there that are really, really short form. There are posts out there that are really, really long or a little bit longer. There are sometimes you'll see videos, sometimes you'll see photos, like everybody's content's different and stuff, which is amazing and diverse. And I love all that stuff. But I think like finding something within that post that you resonate with. And yeah, and the why factor, like why does it resonate or why does it not resonate? Like having
Mhm,
those
mhm.
meaningful conversations to bring out. I think that's great. I love
And
it.
what I find and what I do when I think of it is, I've sometimes, and I'm sure you do this too. You read a post, you start commenting on it, and you say, that was really good. So
Uh,
you can actually copy that and save it in a little file, and that you can expand on that and make your own post.
yeah,
So you can, kind of repurpose your content that way, because even commenting is content.
true that. It is. I love it. And also too, like if you see a post out there, I'm a stickler for this, but if you see somebody's post, like for example, Ariel Lee had a post out this morning and it resonated with me because it talked about, investing in expert advice and guidance. And I said, you know what? I'm going to share that and put that out there. And so I shared a little bit of like 2 sentences of my thoughts about it, shared a post on it, and it was like, boom, right? Because not only did it resonate, but I wanted to also continue that kind of that post discussion around like making sure that you find, folks out there that will support you and will add value to you and stuff like that. So that's
And
fantastic.
she is so funny and entertaining, her posts, I know. So people will get a good read from that.
1,000%. Yeah. David also says the one thing here, he's got a comment. It's actually a blessing when we know from the outset that we're not for them or they're not for us. Better to know it. Yeah. Better to know at the beginning than to know later on down the road. Yeah. 1,000%. Yeah. David's a big like health, wellness, spiritual professional. So a lot of the stuff he posts is very, I'll say it, very fulfilling to me. So whenever I see his stuff, I'm always able to feel good about my day when it comes and things like that, and just being able to engage because he's a very kind soul, for sure. So I definitely appreciate his content and stuff. So I want to kind of shift gears a little bit, Annette, and I want to kind of talk about personal branding on a job search perspective, right? Per the theme. So we know there's a lot of folks out there based on both of our line of work and our expertise looking for a role, right? They're looking for a new career. They may be laid off, they may not be working, and they're really looking for something quickly. They may be in a job career right now where
Mhm.
they're like, "Yeah, I want to make a change, but I'm not sure where to start or where to begin." And obviously, we both know and agree that, hey, you should really get out there, not only just through direct job applications, but also through LinkedIn and networking and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
I'm going to just ask you this direct, right? Like, how can folks get started, right? To just start the branding and just start the networking, on places like LinkedIn. Like, what's the best way in your mind for them to just kind of begin?
Well, we all know that phrase, it's not what you know, it's who you know. But the truth is, it's who knows you. And so, what I always recommend to people is if you have a list of your target companies, let's say one of my target companies is Diageo. And, this is a dream job for me. I've always wanted to work there. So I can go to their company page. I can find recruiters that work at that company. I can go and look at their profiles, look for ones who are active on LinkedIn, what
Sure.
most recruiters are. And if they're posting things, they may be posting jobs, they may post information and advice. And so if a recruiter is posting something about, recruiting or HR or just the industry as a whole, jobs are up, jobs are down, whatever, you can start commenting on their posts. I mean, you don't want to be a stalker and just, every single post, but
Sure.
comment a few times and so that they will get to know you. If I am commenting on your posts regularly over a couple of weeks, you will start to know me. And then when I send you a connection request, I can say, oh, I read what you wrote about the job market, and I found that so interesting, and I'd like to connect with you. And that gives you sort of an opening to have, because of course, you want to send that personal invitation on LinkedIn, and have it be something, even something you found on their profile that you found interesting. I see we both went to Fairfield University, or we both have rescue dogs, or whatever that might
Mhm.
be, as a way to open up that conversation and build some rapport. And then when they do connect with you, engage with them, but not, can you have a job for me? Can you help me find a job? So that's what
Mhm.
I would say to start engaging with people that you want to know you.
I love it. Yeah, and also too, I love that you mentioned like targeting companies and stuff and like really fine tuning and narrowing down a list of companies that not only resonate with you, there may be a product or service that you're interested in them, but also, their values, right? If they have core values, right? If their values align with yours, but even engaging on company, um, LinkedIn pages as well.
Mhm.
Because if there's a company page out there that's active and they're posting daily about stuff they're doing, right? Like, there's somebody either on marketing in the marketing team or branding department or something, or communications department or even TA that's managing that page, right? So if you start commenting on company pages about something they're doing, that resonates with you, absolutely, then they may say, hey, guess what?
I agree with you 100%. And I said recruiters, but it doesn't necessarily need to be a recruiter. It might be someone, if you work in marketing, it might be someone who works in marketing and you come to their attention. A lot of the reason that we talk about networking, and people often have this idea that networking is transactional. I connect with you, you do something for me, I do something for you. But and they feel uncomfortable because it's weird. But they say, I hate networking. I hate networking. But what they forget about is if I need a new vet, if I need someone new to cut my hair, who do I go to? I go to my friends, and that's
Mhm.
networking. And if you think about LinkedIn more in that way, that I'm meeting people, interesting people. I have friends. I just went to a friend's birthday party I met on LinkedIn 20 something years ago. And
Uh-huh.
and that's how close we are now that I went to a small party at her home. And
Mm.
it's just if you go and think of it as just connecting to human, and David had said that too. Met a lot of interesting people by having meaningful conversations in the comments. And it's always cool when people are even on a live show like this and they're talking to each other in the comments.
Mhm. Absolutely. Yeah, I've met so many amazing people simply by leaving meaningful comments on their post. Not just comments like, "Oh, I agree, love this post, yada yada yada." Because that's right, because there people, I mean, I'll put the recruiter hat on and you can as well. It's like I'm not going to remember somebody as much as if they say love this post or I agree versus somebody that it's going to actually give me value back in the post, right? This is great. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And then hopefully they will comment back to you. We do that. If someone comments on our post, we go back and comment back to them. And that's how conversations begin.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it. Um, and just the approach of like when you're actually posting content, um, having because the way that what I'm getting from your answers and your responses as well is like if you are going to post something on your page, like have that post be the conversation starter, right? Like don't just post a post, but post something where people, I'll say diverse folks, can engage on that post, right? That feel something from it. I love it. I absolutely love it.
That's always the goal. It's always the goal.
I love it. I love it. I want to shift gears a little bit. So I'm interested in kind of uh, the 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 part where it's from folks like let's say you've got those target companies, right? You see a job position that you're applying to, right? So I want to kind of talk about like the DMs and the messaging a little bit, right? Because as job seekers, right, we know we get a lot of different messages often from job seekers, looking for help and guidance and for a job and stuff like that. So like what are some ways where job seekers can stand out and better up their chances of like a recruiter or a hiring manager or somebody responding to their initial message? What can they do there?
Wow, there are so many things. I think looking for a way to build rapport, sometimes if you see someone, let's say it's a VP of marketing at a company, and you Google that person's name, if that's the person you want to talk, or the recruiter, you may find some information online about them. Maybe they recently won an award. Maybe they support they support a charity or something like that that you have in common. So, it's always beneficial. I think you'll agree with me. If you're looking for a job, to research. You want to research the people you might be working with, the company. If you're going on an interview, you want to make sure that you do as much research as you can ahead of time. So you look for things that you may have in common because it's much easier to have a conversation with someone or open a conversation if you have something in common. And so, it's always a challenge. There are, it could be something you see in their profile. I mean, it's really, I think it depends on the situation, but you never want to just send someone a connection request or send someone a connection request and the message is looking forward to connecting, or we have mutual connections, and then you look at their profile sometimes and they don't even have any, or or those pat phrases. You always want it to be something personal.
I love it. Yeah, I have a post that based on what you just said, I've got a post I'm going to do probably tomorrow where it's like I actually share 6 LinkedIn messages that I've received in the past like 2 weeks that
Mhm.
did not result in me responding to them, including some sales pitches. And then also a couple, I know we can get to that a whole another time. Don't immediately sales pitch people like we could probably do another live all around that and how to do like
Oh, for sure.
yeah.
For sure.
And then I've got a couple examples where it's like I'll share them here, like where that did work, right? So there's one of them, and we'll talk a little bit about your dog adopting and rescuing because I know that's on your headline, and I want to talk about the importance of headlines in just a second. But one of the examples that I received last week from somebody, and I actually responded like that immediately, was quote, "Phil, you're an opera singer. That's awesome. I love how your brand really tunes into your career coaching. I love to learn more about your services." Done. Easy. Because this person researched, looked into my profile, saw that I was an opera singer on my headline at the end, and also saw some of my about section where they incorporated the whole tune into stuff with what I do. And they're like, I want to just learn more about what you do. And that was
Yeah.
like simple, right?
People just don't want to take the time, they just don't want to take the time. And it really does make such a difference. So many of us get connection requests daily. And I'm not a big fish on LinkedIn, and I still get maybe 10 every day. And a lot of them are just no message. So I don't bother with them.
Mm-hmm. I hear you. I hear you. I love it. Very good, very good, very good. And so I just have to do this with David because he said this earlier. Always brings wonderful positive energy to my posts. He always earned lots of on brand orange hearts, which is true. If I love something, I'll explain why and I'll do an orange heart for my brand. Every time.
You are so on brand with the colors and everything. Always, always. I love it. Here I am in my my LinkedIn Live broadcast black. I mean, that's what I always wear.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah, run us through because you guys because I know we did down here in Atlanta, we did a big like LinkedIn local Atlanta community event. You guys doing one up your way?
Well, thank you for asking. Yeah, I'm just launching LinkedIn Local Fairfield County. Our first event is October 4th in Darien, Connecticut. And, I was kind of inspired by you and Rachel. And I think you partnered with one other person who relaunched, not launched, LinkedIn Local Atlanta. And it was a huge success. Congratulations on that. And I was actually in New York I met a bunch of people in New York. We, had LinkedIn and lunch and whatever. And
Yeah.
I was talking to Beth Granger, who I know does them too. She has LinkedIn Long Island. And I was curious. So I started talking to her about it. And she went through, and told me, and gave me information on how to get started and everything. So, which is always nice too, because here's Beth, she and I know each other from LinkedIn, and here she is just helping me just, because we're humans. And
Mhm.
we're friends from knowing each other on LinkedIn. But yeah, so I thought it would be a great idea because, as I'm sure networking organizations are really kind of down on the demise. We don't have much around here. I used to be on the board of a local women's networking group for like 5 years, and on committees with another one that are both gone now.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
so I'm giving it a shot. I'm excited.
It is exciting. Yeah, and I commend you for it. I mean, I appreciate that I helped inspire a little bit of it up there because I mean, yeah, Rachel and I met, of course, on LinkedIn about a little over a year ago. Just we've known each other around that time as well, Annette, and it was just kind of her idea to say, there's this LinkedIn local thing they used to do before COVID. Have you heard of it? I said no. So she was like, yeah,
Ah,
I want to try to do something. Do you want to be involved? I said, absolutely, yeah, because I hadn't been to an in-person networking event since before COVID. It was my previous employer before my role was eliminated that I did, career fairs and networking events and
mhm,
stuff. So I'm like,
mhm.
yeah, I need to do something and kind of get out there a little bit. So,
Well, Rachel is good like that because she's a starter. She's like, oh, let's do this, and you go,
hmm
oh, okay.
I'm like, okay, I'll be right here. Yeah. And Adam Marks was the third, the other person who helped us out as well. And so I know I'm going to bring Adam on to a live, I think in a couple of weeks. So we're going to talk a little bit about kind of networking as well and kind of updates because we're going to do, I think, one more event before the end of the year, I think. So, but I love it. I absolutely love it. And that reminds me kind of like you mentioned like transactional relationship building like versus like transformational earlier on like when it comes to LinkedIn. And of course, having a site like LinkedIn is so great because we can connect with people globally, which is incredible. But how can folks I guess this is more of a general question, but like how can folks help to make the relationship building with others more of a transformational um, kind of phenomenon versus transactional?
So you know as well as I do that all the magic on LinkedIn happens in the DMs, right? So, you would get on a group with some people and you DM them. I have friends in different parts of the United States that I probably, I'm chatting in the DMs with them several times a week. You get on Zoom calls. I have friends in other parts of the world that I met on Clubhouse, which, that was the silver lining of COVID was Clubhouse, and you got to meet people from all over the world. I have a few people that I have a Zoom call with, not all, but maybe every few months or something, we hop on a Zoom call and I talk to friends in Belgium or New Zealand and that it's the next best thing because obviously, I'm not having coffee with somebody in Belgium, but if I can get on a Zoom call and chat with them, it really makes all the difference, I think.
Yeah, those virtual coffee or like tea chats and stuff, I typically with throughout my day since I'm typically busy during the day, I'll usually do, networking discussions either early in the morning or typically at night, like during the evening times. And a lot of I personally I like to do them at night because, my brain is winding down from clients and I'm able to like just kind of relax. And there's always and there's like there's always something really fulfilling and nice just about getting on to a networking call where you're not having to really like, think a lot at work, kind of stuff. So,
Oh, absolutely. And you know what's fun for networking now too is LinkedIn audio events.
yeah.
That's a great place to network. If you have a friend doing an audio event, get up there and go in and like we're both friends with Deanna. I go to her audio events every once in a while just to, get in the conversation and say hi. So those
Mhm.
are those are really, I mean, I love LinkedIn Lives. I know you do too. But there is that difference with audio where people are actually able to come, and have a conversation.
Absolutely. I need to do one soon. We should do one. Yeah, we should definitely get on an audio
You're
thing and
on.
do that. Yeah, yeah, we should. I'm being serious. That's the one thing I haven't done. I have not done an audio event yet, so I definitely want to do that. So yeah, we could definitely get you on that for sure. And Deanna's 50th was a few weeks back. What, 2 weeks from
We were
today, I
both
think right now,
when we
right?
were both invited guests. What an honor that was, huh?
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, I know she's on it right now, but yeah, she was on the previous live with Carrie a little earlier, doing a lot of commenting and stuff. So yeah, just and that because that's the other thing too, right? Like Deanna and Famia, my friend Famia, and other folks out there, and my friend Monish, like those three folks were on the live. David here right now. It's like that's the power about these comments, right? It's like we'll leave this live today and I guarantee you I'll go to David and I'll say, hey man, like thank you so much for commenting. He can hear me right now, but I'll go out and reach out to him and say, hey,
Uh-huh.
really appreciate your insights and for being here and engaging and sharing your value back to us because that's the power of all of this stuff. Like, mm, I just
Absolutely.
I love it. I love it, and I know you do too. So talk to us a little bit about. So I know you do a lot of branding and stuff like for your clients and like your job seekers and stuff. But also I know you do some work a little bit on the business side as well, right?
Well, I do, and I'm just sort of edging into that area. I
Yeah.
I have helped out some friends and colleagues doing some things, doing video and everything. And I thought, you know what, I should explore this as a business. And so I have helped a few people. I was telling you before we went live
That's
that
why I asked. Yep.
I know you did. I finally convinced my husband to get on TikTok with one of his businesses, and he's so busy, 'cause he's got a lot going on.
Yeah.
And so I said, well, you know what? If you set it up, I'll do it for you. And so I helped him set up the account. And this morning, well, in between the shows that I was doing today, I took some photos from his site and put them on little videos to music, and I was so excited. I was showing you before we went live that he's actually got people looking at him, and I just put this stuff up today, so I'm kind of excited.
I love it. Yes.
But
And
it's so much fun to do something different, right?
yes. Well, and I'm on my phone here. Yeah, I wanna get his TikTok handle here in our live so people can go check it out. So yeah, the TikTok that Annette is referring to is right here. So go to TikTok.com and just type in this handle. It's cars, excuse me, cars with an S, cars.and.coffee.events. And I just went on there like right before we were on this live, and it was incredible. Like there are some awesome like vintage cars and vehicles on there. I was like, dude, I want that car right now. I'm like,
Okay, so now since you're the car guy, then you got to go on there because you will find events local to you. And I just will mention one thing that I think is it might be of interest to you if you're a car guy.
yeah,
So the Cannonball Run, you're familiar with the
I,
movie,
yes.
and so the place that it actually originated is a couple of towns over from where we live, and that's where he hosts his cars and coffee events that he does once a month. And
Uh,
it's actually they're doing a big thing in October, and the original Cannonball was started by a guy named Brock and his wife, and so he's passed, but people are coming and they're dedicating a plaque and they're doing this whole big thing. So
mhm,
he's so excited about it. I'm like, okay.
mm. I love it. Yeah, that's awesome. Like yeah, I've got to make my way up there now. I need to, regardless. I need to get up there and see y'all and meet you guys in person. We got to make that work somehow. That's just yet another thing, another reason for me to get up there is to do that and to be a part of that. So I love it. I love it a lot. And I'm glad that you're going through kind of a new journey, just as far as like the business side of branding and stuff. I think that's awesome. I love it.
It's so much fun. When I was in college, I was an English major and a media minor. So I did a lot of video, media, on air broadcasting and stuff as a student. And so I love all things media, which is part of the reason I love LinkedIn Lives and,
Mhm.
TikTok and all of those other platforms. And so if I can help people build their brands and business by teaching them how to create content and things like that, that's another avenue of fun for me
I
and,
love it.
and business too.
I love it. And that's, I mean, that's another good takeaway too, like with the branding, like, be authentically you, like you said, be human, talk about the transformation of the relationship, meaningful comments and posts, sparking conversations. But even then, just too, like having fun doing it, right? Because there are some days where, at least I'll wake up and I'm like, I got to post again. And usually those days where I'm like, I don't want to post, I'm like, yeah, I'll just start commenting, because I don't post every day anymore. So what I try to do is like, I'm sure you do as well, is just start commenting a little bit more. So I may take a day or two where all I'm doing is I'm just commenting on meaningful posts that resonate, with friends and other people that I like to engage with. And then if there's folks outside my network, even like second and third degree connections that I may catch on my feed, I'll be like, yeah, I want to see what they're all about, do the research, connect with them, and then there you go. Um, for sure, right? Because
Oh,
it can, yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, yeah, for
Great
sure.
way to learn too, right?
Always learning on this platform for sure. Like on all social platforms, I say, but yeah, LinkedIn for sure. I mean, there's always something new on there, and I think the coolest thing, and I don't remember which one said it on Deanna's audio that we were on. But LinkedIn is it's a 24/7, 365 platform, right? And it's always online, like TikTok. So
Yep.
there's always, you can wake up at 3 in the morning and you can see something completely different on your feed versus something in like 8 in the morning.
And there are people that do that. We both know Jeff Young, and he
Yes.
gets up at the crack of dawn where he lives. And as he's getting up in the morning, people in Europe are in the evening going to bed. So he talks to them before they go to bed. And then he starts talking to people across the United States as they wake up in the morning. And, it's now, I mean, that's too much for me. It's too early for me. But there is that is a way to really keep in touch with people. I was on a webinar this morning
Mhm.
learning from a coach in London, so who I met on TikTok, and she invited me on LinkedIn to come to her webinar this morning. So
Yeah,
how's that for making those connections on social media?
I love it. Yeah, I had a really good friend with one of my friends, Gabby, who's over in the UK as well. And we talked, I mean, we talked early. We talked at like 9 o'clock Eastern my time. And she was the first call of the day. And it was just, let's check in on each other, see how things are going and see how we can support each other, moving forward. And that's sometimes that's just what it takes. Like, hey, like let's catch up. Let's see what's going on. Because we need that, right? I mean, I think all of us, whether you're on a job search or whether you're a business owner or whether you're just on LinkedIn engaging, we all need those people to surround us and to support us and vice versa, right? Because, the past couple of years have been turbulent for us all and we've all had to kind of, work around things and navigate around professional and personal things that have been going on and stuff like that. So that's the power of it all for sure. I love it. I love it. What would you say, Annette? We've talked about a lot. I've got a good old page of notes on my notebook here on the left. I used to have a small notebook. Now I've got a big notebook, college rule paper, and I have like all of these notes on our discussion. Believe it or not.
Oh, you know what? You are a person after my own heart, because this is like what I have that I use on my desk. I'm a pen and
Yes, I
paper
love
person
it.
too. So
I love it.
I was taking notes this morning when I was watching that webinar. So yeah, I'm here. I go through these legal pads like crazy.
I
But
know I bought four more of these because I ran out of the other ones. I'm like, I'm gonna just buy four because at Office Depot they were like 50 cents each. So I'm like, you know what? For $2, it's worth it. Let's just do it. So we've talked a lot, friends. We got a few more minutes of time, so I want to ask Annette one last question for y'all in the audience, and then of course we're going to be doing our little reel waffle for one more fulfillment branded T-shirt. But Annette, we've talked a lot about branding. We've talked a lot about job search and brand and personal branding. We've talked about just being authentic, being humanly you, being transformational in the relationship, talking about the cannonball run, talking about human to human connection, researching others. I mean, just there's so many different topics that at least I can know I can repurpose out there next week. So for folks who may not have heard the live or the replay, we'll definitely I have a lot to repurpose on, which is great. But what would you say would be, what's like the one key takeaway in that you would want folks in the audience listening live or on the replay to take away from this chat that we've had?
Well, I think what you've said, what David said, is to be you. Don't try to be what you think you should be or what you think people want you to be. Know who you are and be who you are. And when you are creating content on LinkedIn, whether you're writing a post or you're, doing a video, to have it be the way you are. So write the way you speak, do a video the way you speak. Don't try to, a lot of times people use big words because they want to sound smarter, but you just being you, I think is the thing that keeps coming back. And as I think you said earlier, everybody else is taken, so you have to be yourself.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, David says, happy to be here, Phil. Orange Hearts, of course, great discussion. Yeah, thank you for engaging, David. I have you also on the raffle, David, as well. So you're for the T-shirts. So you're definitely there. I had one more comment come in too. I want to make sure I get the user Here we go. So it was Jamie Nieto. Thank you for being here. He says, I think people should better express their work and life experiences, including me, but here we are afraid to cross the level of professionalism. I think that's where the commitment to have more contact begins. Yeah, very interesting. Yeah, and one thing I've said to folks on LinkedIn, is to be professional with personality, but then also be personable professionally. So like it's kind of an
Oh,
interesting little
yeah.
little tag, but yeah, be professional personably and show your personality in a professional way because
Yeah,
they do
that's a
go
good
hand in
one.
hand.
I like
Yeah,
that.
I really like that. Yeah, thanks for sparking that nugget in there, Jamie. I really appreciate that. But this is what it's all about, right? Like I wouldn't have said that if he didn't put this comment in there, right? You wouldn't have talked about it if we didn't hear, stuff with David's
Yep.
stuff earlier. I mean, it's just that's the power of this place. That is the power of this place for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
So I appreciate you being here, friend. We're going to keep you on. So I'm going to share my screen here. So we have our final fulfillment raffle. So we've had 4 raffle offs. We had 2 people last week win 2 30-minute sessions or a 30-minute session with me for career coaching. So we have 2 winners there. And then we had a winner for a t-shirt this morning with Carrie. And then now we're going to go and do our final one here. So let me get my screen share here. I'm going to
Ah,
do it like I did last time.
I bet it's orange.
It is. It's my orange logos on this. Yeah, I don't have the shirt on today, but I have them in pictures that I've shared previously. All right, so we've got the wheel here, folks. I know you can see
I
it.
love those wheels. They're so cool.
We got 21 people on this wheel. We've had a lot of people express interest in the raffle. So I'm going to click once. It's going to spin randomly. So I have no idea who's gonna be the winner, but we're going to go ahead and do it now. Who's it gonna be? Who's it gonna be? Ooh, it's Anastasia. Awesome. Anastasia, I will be reaching out. Congratulations. I'm going to reach out to you in a little bit, let you know that you won a fulfillment t-shirt. So I am stoked about that. That's awesome. So she won, and I might do another one maybe next week. So we're gonna keep the wheel the way it is right now, and I might do a third one. I'm thinking about it. So well, I'm
Well,
thinking
you're
about
such a giver, Phil, so you gotta.
it. I gotta. I appreciate you. I do. Excellent. So I'm gonna get that off here and stop sharing my screen. All right. So, any last things you want to mention, my friend, about branding, about job search strategy, anything that you want to leave the audience with before we wrap up?
Just the whole idea of stop thinking about LinkedIn as a place to make connections and think of it as a place to meet other humans and go, to LinkedIn as you should go to networking events with no expectations. Because,
Mm,
you may meet someone who might become a client or your employer. You might get even luckier and meet someone who becomes one of your good friends. And so, that's what I think is the most important. And I'm not the first and only one to say that. A lot of people talk about, having a human to human, not business to business connection on LinkedIn. And the one last thing that I will say is I know, and I'm sure you hear this, Phil, from colleagues maybe that you talk to who you're trying to encourage to be on LinkedIn. They're like, oh, it's such a chore. I have to go on there. But the thing is, once you know people, it's not a chore. LinkedIn is almost like Facebook to me. Facebook is to other people. I go on there to see what my friends are up to and see what they're saying, and I get to learn a little bit. And if you are active, it becomes enjoyable.
yeah, I agree. I agree 1,000%. I mean, yeah, it's again, it's being out there and just enjoying the fun of it because it is, networking is fun. And like if you break down the word networking, it's like net, like a spider web or an actual net, and then working, like, yes, it's going to take
Oh,
work I love doing that breakdown. Like it does take work to network, but if you think about it more like it's a continual thing, where you can go in and you can chime in on stuff at any time you want, right? Like 24/7, 365, and just have discussions in that way. I mean, then it doesn't seem like it's work. I love that. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
there's
love
always
that.
something happening. It's like Las Vegas, right? There's something always going on LinkedIn.
There's absolutely, it's never a dull moment. 1,000%. It's absolutely. And David says here, I love, of course, I love those soulful connections. Yeah, the deep, yeah, because I mean, LinkedIn's great because getting to like again, we wouldn't be having this live right now, you and me, if we didn't. Number one, if we didn't meet on LinkedIn and we got to know each other and really understand like and collaborate, prior to even getting on your live, right? And like this is the power of it all. It's like we get to that point where we get to learn and collaborate with others, starting off like you said in the DMs and then getting on those one-on-one discussions or group chats and check-ins and things like that. And you get to talk about a lot of different things and learn. I mean, heck, I learned so much from you today that I didn't know about before. So it's like, now there we go. And same with David. I learned a lot from him, and I know you did as well. And that's what it's all about. So
I did. I'll be following him when we get off this show.
yeah, he's fantastic. Please do, please do. But for those folks in the audience as well, I have to, of course, get them your information. Of course, you can connect with Annette on LinkedIn, right? Because that's what we talked about today. So there's her LinkedIn profile. If you're on your cell phone watching right now, I also got a QR code, which is on the top left of the screen. So if you scan your phone on there, that'll go right to her page. Click that connect button, send a personalized note, let Annette know that you found her through our fulfillment LinkedIn Live. Definitely
Absolutely.
let them know. Yeah, let her know.
Absolutely.
So she's there as well. And then also because I think this is still just amazing, she has a TikTok account as well, but I'm going to put back the hubby's one, cars.and.coffee.events. Please follow it. I'm following right now. I'm going to like actually literally when we get off before my next broadcast, I'm going to like look around on it. I
It's
am.
it's really quite something. Yeah, you can find me everywhere. I like to be around. So
Yes, you do. So we got you there. And then, of course, on TikTok, she is there. I'm a proud follower as well. Annette Advises. So at Annette Advises, which is her TikTok account. And she does have a business page on LinkedIn. I'll put that here as well. www.linkedin.com/company/personal-brand-you as well. So she's got her LinkedIn there too.
oh,
I know.
this
Yeah.
is so cool.
I
What a
researched you.
great idea.
I did my research, like you said, right before we
I'm
talked.
gonna start doing that too.
Gotcha. That's the power of it all right there. Folks, it's been a pleasure having you with us tuning in. If you are tuning into the replay, please do comment. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Give us some feedback as well. We always love to see your comments, and if you do comment on the replay, we'll definitely get back to you as well.
Oh
Annette,
yeah, we'll know.
yeah, we will. It's been a joy, my friend. Thank you for being here with us
Oh,
today.
such a treat and such a lovely way to almost end the week. It's been such a treat chatting with you, as it always is, Phil. So thanks so
I
much.
I appreciate you, friend. We will be signing off here in a couple seconds, but thank you so very much for being here, friends. And we will see you all on our next fulfillment live. We're gonna take next week off because Phil needs a break, but the week after we'll resume. So, thank you, friends. We'll see you soon.